Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Alright, people, so Eddie Hearn was on the DAZN boxing show and he was talking about the comeback of Anthony Joshua. So obviously we know Joshua, he will be returning to the ring at some point in 2023. He's stating here most likely April. So April is more than likely when we're going to see Anthony Joshua back out. And he's saying that there's going to be 3 fights in 2023. Now, could that happen? Potentially. It kind of, with the way AJ's situation is now, going from trainer to trainer, I don't know if this is if the lineup Eddie Hearn has here. I mean, I'll get into this now in a sec, right? So he's saying he's going to return in April against a top 15 opponent. Now, that is interesting. Obviously, he says as well that in the summer he's going to have Dillian Whyte too. So the rematch with Dillian Whyte likely be in the summer. Now, just to interject, I was going to go through the rankings there, but the reason I think, now personally for me, I'd have the Dillian Whyte fight first. Because I think Whyte now, I see it as a brilliant comeback fight for Anthony Joshua, truth be told. Yes, Dillian Whyte is dangerous with the left hook, but I think that, I think he's regressed a good bit as a fighter. I think his chin is definitely, his chin is not what it was when AJ fought him in 2015. I mean, that's there for all to see. I think that he's slowed down a good bit. I noticed signs of him declining a little bit in the Jermaine Franklin fight. He did not look the fighter he was a couple of years ago. He didn't. And for me, I think right now he is there for the taking. That's why I was adamant that Frank Warren, even after Dubois had his little, struggle with Kevin Lorena, he should still be trying to get Dillian Whyte in there against Daniel Dubois and try and put that on pay-per-view or something, because he's there for I think he's there for the taking. And AJ, with his combination punching, with his uppercuts, I can see that being a foregone conclusion for Anthony Joshua, really. And it could be a fight that could really help him build back his confidence, to go in there with Dillian Whyte and kind of say to him, okay, look, a few years ago when I was young, and I was a bit green, you got some shots in, you took me 7 rounds, it ain't going to take me 7 rounds this time. Now, I can see why he's talking about doing Dillian Whyte in the summer. I suspect Eddie Hearn may be looking to do that in a stadium. Maybe looking to possibly do that in a stadium. I wouldn't go as far as saying Wembley Stadium or Principality Stadium, but could he do Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Probably, maybe. Dillian Whyte too. I don't know, maybe. I'm just thinking outside the box with that one. In terms of top 15, I know Otto Wallin has been talked about a good bit, but let's just look at some of the rankings. Now, if you go on to box.live, it shows all the rankings. Now, with the Ring magazine, which would be, that's the most accurate in terms of top. Now, they only give you the top 10. So we talked about Fury, Wilder, Joshua's in there at number 3, Joyce, Ruiz, Whyte, Ortiz, Parker, Hrgovic, Sanchez. I don't know if I could see Anthony Joshua facing any of them. Possibly Luis Ortiz, maybe, but although Ortiz is coming off a loss. If we go on to the WBO, Ruiz, Sanchez, Wallin in there at number 3. I think Otto Wallin potentially could be the front runner. Potentially. Hrgovic, Joshua Wilder down there at number 6. I can't remember this guy's name, the Turkish heavyweight, Dimitrens, 1701. Probably saying that name wrong. Joe Parker, Jared Anderson, Dempsey McKean. Give Joshua a good shot again. Actually, I'd pick him over Dempsey McKean, truth be told. Caballel is awkward. He's an awkward type of heavyweight. He's a bit negative. He moves. You might not look devastating against the Ajay Caballel. Zili Zhang. Bacoli be an interesting one. Sharenko and Justice Hooney. Justice Hooney's in there, 7-0, top 15. Franklin and Hunter actually recently dropped out of them. Now the IBF, which obviously Hrgovic, Ruiz, Joshua, etc. It's quite similar. Yoke is in there, Gassiev, Martin. So they're kind of top 15 you'd expect. Now, I reckon more than likely Otto Wallin, I would say, because he did talk about it before Christmas, being in contact. I think Dimitri Salita said as well they were in contact with Team Joshua, with Team Hearn, about potentially meeting. Now, look, I would pick Anthony Joshua over Otto Wallin. I would, even now. But I see Otto Wallin. I see him as look. Heavyweight boxing is unpredictable. We know that. And could Otto Wallin pull an upset? Of course he could. He's a good fighter, Otto Wallin. He's not. I don't think he's at that level. In terms of the world level guys. I don't think he's there. But he's not a million miles off. Put it like that. He didn't disgrace himself against Fury. Gave Fury a really tough fight. But Wallin his style is not. It's not a style you would expect to look good against. He's a southpaw. He throws a lot of punches. He's not a big, devastating puncher. He's a slashing puncher. He'll cut you rather than concuss you. That's what Otto Wallin is. And I just see him being someone that, no doubt Joshua could beat him. But I don't see him looking devastating against him, if you know what I mean. It's the kind of fight where even if he wins it, you'll have people look. And I guarantee you, if you fought Otto Wallin, he could win that fight, maybe late stoppage or maybe on points, but you'd still have people looking at it and saying, oh, he didn't look good, he got tagged a bit, and I think he's done. You could potentially have that. Now, I've heard other people mention Jermaine Franklin. I'd see that as a bit of a harder sell, truth be told. I picked Joshua over him, but he's coming off a loss to Dillian Whyte. I know a lot of people felt he won the fight, but I just think with him, that would be a slightly harder sell. With Wallin, I think they'll sell it as, Fury fought him a fight before Wilder, and they'll probably try and do it like that, I would imagine, if in fact that is who they take. Now, they could pick someone out of thin air, I mean, we've heard Eddie Hearn say in the past, noticeably with Conor Benn. I remember it was on the undercard of, God, who was it? It was that show that Dillian Whyte was meant to top Wallin with, but he pulled out, but they still had the show go on. I remember Eddie Hearn saying, top 15 opponent for Conor Benn, Chris Algieri or Victor Ortiz. I was like, ha 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 ha. What top 15 were you looking at? So, God knows who it could actually be. But Dillian Whyte likely in the summer. Yeah, I suspect they might try and do an outdoor event with that one. But then he said in the autumn, either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. That's interesting. It's interesting that he's mentioning Fury and Wilder, because is he implying that he thinks Fury is going to beat Alexander Usyk? Because Fury, we would hope, is going to face Alexander Usyk. So if Fury fights and beats Alexander Usyk, would there not maybe be a rematch with Usyk? Would he not have a mandatory against Joe Joyce? I mean, putting Fury's name there is ambitious, definitely. I can't see AJ fighting Fury this year. Put it like that. If Fury beats Usyk, I'd see him probably having a Joe Joyce or a Dubois fight next. I think that they'd try and cash in Queensbury's end with Fury against Joyce or someone like that. I can't see that. In terms of Wilder, yeah, I could definitely see that. I could for sure see that. I love that fight still. And, Eddie Hearn, I think Eddie Hearn triggered a few people when he said that Joshua versus Wilder is a bigger fight commercially than Usyk Fury. Now, as much as I am championing Usyk Fury, I want to see undisputed, I'm not going to turn around and say he's wrong when I don't think he is. Look, I think Joshua versus Wilder is a bigger fight commercially. I do. I think that it's a fight that has a lot of intrigue, even now, even though both guys have lost, they're no longer champions. I would still be fascinated to watch that fight. I still feel as though Deontay Wilder wins. I could see the fight being, it could be a strange one, right? I could see the fight being a very cagey affair. I think a lot of people would be going in there expecting an early blowout by either guy. I wouldn't. I would actually, funny enough, I'd expect a very cagey affair. But nevertheless, you'd still be on the edge of your seat the whole way through, because from either man, a bomb can go and boom, it's over. Do you know that sort of way? It'd be one of those fights where you're constantly, even if it's boring, even if the first 4 or 5 rounds nothing's really happening, you're on the edge of your seat because you just know at any given moment, boom, it's over. So that's what Eddie Hearn is planning for Joshua. Now, whether or not we get 3 fights remains to be seen. He had 3 fights in 2016, I think was the last time he had 3 fights, because he fought Martin Brazil Molina. He 2-17, 2-18, 2-19, 1-20, won the last 2 years. So it'll be the first time since 2016 he's had 3 fights in a year. And back then he had a team that he was constantly working with, Rob McCracken, etc. So how would it work with going from trainer A this camp to trainer A that camp, possibly trainer A or back and ting and ting and ting? I wonder how that would work. I just wonder how that would work. But that's what Eddie Hearn is saying about Anthony Joshua's comeback plan. Let's see. Let's see who the opponent who was announced for April. And let's see where it takes place. Obviously, it's probably going to take place in the UK, but will it be the O2? Where will it be? I'd say more than likely the O2. He hasn't had a fight there in a long time, actually. Last time he fought in the O2 was against Brazil, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was against Brazil, because he fought Molina in Manchester. And then he went and fought in stadiums thereafter. So it's been a while since he's been in the O2. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who that top 15 opponent is. Personally, if it was me, I would do it in slightly different order. I would do the Dillian Whyte fight first. Then I would maybe look at a top 15 opponent. Maybe if Anthony Joshua was looking good against Dillian Whyte and, you're starting to see something, maybe put him in with a Dillian. Or, personally for me, I would probably go and give him another confidence builder. Put him in there with an Ortiz or someone like that. Or, run it back with Charles Barton or someone like that, just to give him more confidence, and then maybe have a look at stepping up to a Wilder or a Valine at that point. That would be what I would do. But obviously, I know Eddie Hearn is running the business. He's running the zone. They're trying to make money off Anthony Joshua because they're paying him an enormous amount of money, and they don't want to take hits putting Joshua in there with guys that maybe the fans aren't as up for as a Wilder or a Fury or a top 15 opponent, etc. Maybe they'll look at someone like Ortiz and think, who the hell is he? This guy's old, this guy's in his 50s more than likely. Well, I don't want to watch that. Or Gerald Washington or someone like, I don't want to watch. Not to say I would be like that, but the average would be like, I don't really want to watch that. So we'll watch the space. We'll see when Joshua's comeback is announced, and we'll see who his first opponent is. And take that one to the bank. Dillian Whyte, Joshua in the Summerlin Stadium. Take that one to the bank. If I'm wrong, so be it, but take that one to the bank. For now, lads and lassies, I'll leave you with that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Joshua's plan for a comeback? Do you think he will have 3 fights in 2016? 2023? Do you think he will have 3 fights like he did in 2016? Or do you think that maybe the chop at the trainer constantly, it might cause some stagnation in terms of career-wise, in terms of, he might have this fight and he might have to wait, etc. Let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the video, people. Again, smash the like button if you haven't already. It's free. It takes 2 seconds to smash the like button. It could be hit like that, and then boom, you're boosting the channel. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you. Peace.